Hey guys, what's cracking? It is Krakenation. We're here today to do a Hearthstone video, which we have not done in a very long time, but to kick these Hearthstone videos off again, we're going to be visiting the new Saviors of Uldum cards. Now that we are around a week into the meta, and a lot of people have gotten to try a lot of really fun decks. I know that I've played a lot of Hearthstone and gotten to have a lot of fun with these cards. Now that we're into this expansion a little bit, we're going to be talking about the top 5 cards from every single class and the neutral set. So without further ado, this video we're going to be talking about the Druid class. So the Druid class is definitely in an interesting spot. Unfortunately, that the top Druid deck from Rise of Shadows was Token Druid, which remains relatively unchanged, and the Token Druid archetype still is just kind of by far the best way to play Druid. There were a couple cards that made it into Token Druid or saw experimentation, and we'll be talking about those cards in this video. But for the most part, we're just going to be going over the individual power levels that we've seen out of each card now that the expansion has arrived. So if you're interested in that, stick around and let's get started. So coming in at number 5 is the Anubis At Defender. The Anubis At Defender is a really cool card. It's a lot like an old card, Arcane Tyrant. But the Anubis At Defender, what's cool about it is that it actually has the taunt tag and a 3/5 stat line. So it's got that Sen'jin's Shield Master stat line that makes it a lot better at just taking on defensive things, being an active threat on the board. Once you play it, they're fast stats because your opponent, without a silence, obviously has to somehow interact with those. Their minions have to interact with that taunt. So that makes it a lot more instantly impactful than a 4/4 was. And the Arcane Tyrant was a good card at a 0 mana 4/4, of a condition being pretty easy to achieve. It's not that was a pretty playable card in a lot of these Druid decks, especially because it was really good off a card like Ultimate Infestation, where you would play UI, you would draw 5 cards, one or two of those cards would be Arcane Tyrant, and you instantly also play another 4/4 for free to go along with the 5/5 from UI. So in those situations where you're playing something like Nourish, for example, drawing 3 cards in the Quest Druid deck, you play Nourish, which is now a 6 mana spell, even if it was a 5 is fine, but you play Nourish, you draw 3 cards out of your deck. One of those cards is the Anubis At Defender, which is unarguably a better minion and better body almost than the Arcane Tyrant. You're going to really be able to benefit off of those stats, playing them for free, and that makes the Anubis At Defender a really good card. Coming in at number 4 is the Druid Quest. Now it's interesting because I have Quest Druid cards a little higher on this list, but in this instance I'm deciding to talk about this card in a vacuum and what it does, and the fact that the Quest is pretty good actually. It's able to just generate an insane amount of value, puts this at number 4. Still by far it is in the top third of Druid cards, so it's still a very, very good card. It's cool that it defines the deck, but I didn't want to make the fact that it defined the deck that it is played in. Obviously it does, but I didn't want to make that define its ranking, whereas other cards in that deck might be more impactful to that deck's success. I think without some of these cards are playable without Quest Druid, but Quest Druid is not playable without some of these cards. So I think that's the differentiation I'm trying to draw. But the Quest is really powerful, relatively easy to complete. You can get steamrolled by aggro, which is one big downfall. If you get steamrolled by aggro when the turns you're trying to not play your mana, so you're trying to get untapped potential to trigger as early as possible, but because you're not using your mana efficiently and you're not making active plays and proactive plays as often, you're going to have a really hard time keeping up with really fast aggro decks. So things like Zoo, Warlock, and Token Druid could have a really high chance to just overwhelm you. But what's cool about Quest Druid is if you get that quest activated, all of a sudden you have these tools to surge, maybe that'll give you a hint on what's higher up in this list, surge back into the game instantly and just kind of come back and storm back into the game. So I think that's a really cool mechanic. I really enjoy the deck. It's a really fun deck, and if you haven't tried it, you definitely go and should, because it's a really, really fun deck to play and just feels really rewarding. I actually have a fun deck, kind of fun variant of the deck that I might be making a video on soon that I made that's a little unorthodox, but I think people might like it, so I'm going to do that. So coming in at number 3 is the Garden Gnome card, and I haven't played Token Druid that much, but Garden Gnome is one of the only cards that has made it into some of the Token Druid deck lists, and this is a really powerful card. It's a really easy to satisfy condition. It also fits really nicely with cards like Anubis At Defender, but when Token Druid is carrying things like the Forest 8 and stuff, the 8-mana twin spell, so in 5/2/2 treants, that's going to be really, really easy to satisfy because those cards are sticky in your hand, they stick around, and you're going to end up with a few of those cards. It's not too hard to end up with a few more cards that are cost 5 mana or more of these big, powerful spells that Druid might want. And then because of that, you're able to just pump out stats on board really, really effectively, and this means that Garden Gnome just can quickly just infuse stats on the board in a way that Druid likes to, because what you can do is you can spread out these stats across multiple bodies and then empower them with things like Power of the Wild or Blessing of the Ancients or even like Soul of the Forest. So you can really quickly spread multiple bodies across the board and quickly infuse them with some stats from another card in your hand. That makes Garden Gnome really, really effective and a natural fit into Token Druid, I think. I know it's not currently in all deck lists, but it's just a card that I think is on the rise, so definitely keep an eye on it. It's going to be a really powerful card in Token Druid, which was a really powerful archetype before this expansion, seems to be remaining as a very powerful archetype in this expansion, so definitely that's a really powerful card. So coming in at number 2 is the card that I think is currently doing the best job of the best Sabers of Uldum card to carry Quest Druid into playable range, and that's going to be Oasis Surger. Oasis Surger is a sweet card. I think it's a really cool card, and it just, when you have the quest active, it feels so good to play. You can play it proactively as a stat dump. Obviously, you can play it how it was meant to be played, which is reactively. It feels fine to play even if your quest isn't activated yet, because 5 mana for 2/3/3s with Rush is really feels really strong, or the Militia Commander, really 5 mana, 5/5 Rush. Both feel like really strong options, the 3/3s obviously being a little better, but then if you have with the quest activated, Oasis Surger is what's really able to bring back the game, because if you're on turn 7 or 8 or something and you're starting to lag behind because you only just started getting your quest online, Oasis Surger can really quickly just like bring you back into the game, just eliminate threats, give you a lot of stats, just stat dump. 5 mana, 10/10 of fast stats is insane. So this card is really what's, I think, empowering the Quest Druid deck to be as good as it is. You actually can look at the stats, and Oasis Surger and Crystal Merchant are the 2 best cards in Quest Druid that are from this expansion right now, and Oasis Surger by a very wide margin is still better than Crystal Merchant with a 61.5% played win rate, which means the second you put Oasis Surger in play, your chance to win just jumps significantly. And for a card that's like not really your win con to be that high of a win rate in a deck is really significant. So Oasis Surger, for that reason, I've put at number 2 as an incredibly powerful card in your arsenal as a Quest Druid. But at number 1 is a really funny choice. Whoever would have thought this card would be that good? But I mean, it's gonna be Bees. Bees! Bees is really cool because it's really interesting. It's a lot like the formal card Implosion, and it wasn't that it was going to be a bad card. I just don't think anyone expected it to be the best Druid card in this set. And the reason it's the best Druid card in this set is because it's a natural fit into literally every single archetype that Druid is playing right now. If we look at the best archetype that Druid is playing, Token Druid, it fits very well as a quick way to remove something, but also doubles as if you remove something with lower health, maybe you get a few bodies on board, which obviously, like I outlined earlier, Token Druid loves to be able to infuse those bodies with extra stats and extra resources. So Bees just becomes a natural fit as both a removal option and a board filling option. It's just insanely good in that deck. But even furthermore, it even is good in stuff like Quest Druid, or like Combo Druid, or these things, just for the reason that I said, which is it gives you stats on the board. It's a 3 mana Shadow Bolt if you need it, so it's a really good card there, like really good for a controlling deck. But if you need it to be flexible and deal 2 damage, but you can hang on to 2 of your minions, all of a sudden it's just this very versatile card. 3 mana 2/2 in stats, deal 2 damage, still excellent. It gets around Taunt, which is awesome for a minion like that. Minions, I guess you should say. But so Bees I didn't expect to be that influential because the effect on paper isn't that impactful, but because of the way it's versatilely used in so many different decks, and because of how just always pretty good it is, it's really valuable in Hearthstone to never be a bad play. It's like Bees will always feel in every deck like it's a good card to include because it's going to be able to have a positive impact on every single game plan you want to do. For that reason, Bees has got to be number 1 on this list. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you think your top 5 is. There are definitely some controversial choices that I had to make. make. So if you think I got something wrong, make sure to tell me in the comment section below. Make sure to check me out on stream. I will be streaming on Twitch from time to time. I will be getting a schedule up eventually. Not yet, but eventually. And so I plan on streaming Hearthstone videos more often. So if you want to check me out, both the link to my Discord and my Twitch are in the description below. But thanks for watching, guys. I hope I'll see you guys later. Krakenation out.